Oh, goody.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Zombies here again, and today we're back with another Marvel Snap video. So in this one, we are going over today's new card release, which is Legion. Legion is a 5-cost 8-power that reads on reveal, replace each other location with this one. He is going to be a Series 4 release, and as we can see up here, the other cards releasing in this Spotlight cache with him will be High Evolutionary and Darkhawk, so maybe a fairly enticing week if you're interested in Legion and you haven't had a chance to pick up those other two cards yet, as they are very powerful deck enablers, so maybe this is worth it for folks still trying to get their hands on those cards. But yeah, I think Legion's pretty neat. I think most of the community saw this card as a bit of a meme, more for fun than for competitive purposes. However, we did recently learn how he interacts with Storm, and it isn't quite what we expected. So unlike the copying location, if it copied a Storm lane, it doesn't shut down right away on the following turn. Legion does not work that way. If you play Storm on turn 4, you play Legion on turn 5, copying the Storm lane, all 3 Storm lanes will close at the start of the final turn. So maybe this card has potential after all in a lockdown style shell. Definitely a pretty big boost in terms of its potential. Other than that, I do think there are some other interesting applications for it here, potentially shutting down an opponent's magic, or just making it so if there's a location that's bad for them and not bad for us, we can make all the locations bad for them. So I'm actually pretty excited to try this one. I'm going to be picking it up for tokens because it's only 3K being a Series 4 release, and I'm pretty much looking forward to playing with it. I think it's going to be a much more interesting card than I originally thought. Moving on to our day 1 decks here. First up, we have Legion Lockdown. So obviously very powerful Storm synergy here. So we just threw this in a lockdown shell with some high Evo cards that have traditionally been good in the archetype, like Cyclops and Wasp. Obviously Nebula, Sunspot, and Jeff are really good in this style of deck, as if we're able to get the Legion combo off, we can benefit from all 3 of these cards very greatly in terms of nobody being able to play any cards on the final turn of the game. We have Lad, because there are just some very powerful things to copy here. Professor X and Spider-Man also help out with the lane lock game plan, and Doom lets us go wide into the lanes we shut down, just in case we weren't able to get enough power there before closing them off. Next up here, we have a deck that was pretty popular a few months ago, but kind of fell out of favor, and I think Legion might be able to bring it back a bit, and that is the SheHulk Infinite deck. The buff to magic was also a pretty big help here, in that the idea with this deck is we can skip turn 6 and then follow up with a Infinite into SheHulk, or even multiple SheHulks if Moon Girl lets us copy her up. Chavez is going to give us a bit more draw consistency, and Legion is mainly here for copying our Limbo, so that way we don't have to worry about the risk of our opponent shutting it off. Psylocke pretty good here too, as it lets us float 6 energy on turn 5, so we don't always need to rely on magic in order to get our combo going. We have armor for a bit of defense, and then just some powerful cheap cost cards here in Sunspot, who obviously has good synergy with floating, Nebula, and Iceman for a bit of tempo disruption. Wasp also a pretty decent one here, as even though it's only 1 power, we can double it up with Moon Girl, and 2 power for free, not too bad of a thing, especially since this deck is one that is just trying to totally go off on the final turn. Legion can also be helpful in copying locations that are negative for the opponent, but don't really bother us too much, and I think he's going to have a bit of potential there outside of just making sure that we have our access to turn 7 guaranteed. Last but not least, we do have the Onslaught Living Tribunal Hela deck, and this one's been a lot of fun. I've been playing a bunch of this one, especially since the Living Tribunal got buffed recently. Much like in the other deck we just looked at, Legion's main purpose here is going to be duplicating our Limbo lane, so that way we can guarantee that we're going to get 7 turns in the game, even if our opponent has something to shut it off, like Storm, Reality Stone, or Scarlet Witch. This is definitely one of the more consistent high roll decks I've played. It's able to put out a pretty absurd amount of power, and I really value the fact that there are multiple ways to win the game. We're not all in on the Hela plan. We do have a pretty solid backup in being able to go Iron Man into Onslaught and Living Tribunal. And that's going to wrap it up for our day 1 Legion decks. I'm curious what you all think about this card. Are you excited for it? Are you picking it up? Are you looking forward to do some memes with it? Or do you think with this newly known Storm interaction, maybe he has a chance at actually seeing some competitive play? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you enjoyed it, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.